Well, hello, my favorite people in the entire world, my patrons. You're awesome. I love you. Thank you very much for making your generous support is really it's just wonderful. It makes my life so much easier. I want you to know that I'm doing some fun work, making progress on Endless Horizons. The new publishing structure is coming into place. I'll be going to be really excited to be talking about that hopefully in about 2 weeks or so. I'll have the corporation set up and everything put together, so it's actually going to be really awesome. I think you guys are going to really be excited by that. One of the questions that I've get asked or have been asked recently in email has been kind of, well, what's all really involved in writing a book? I mean, how hard is it to be an author? And I thought, let's kind of go through that just a little bit, because it's not as easy as anyone thinks. In fact, a lot of people think it's really, really hard, and to them, kudos. They're actually quite right. And thank you. Welcome back from the edit. While when you write the book, you get through it. You figure out a plot, you figure out your heroes, you write your first draft, and then you publish it and you're done, right? Well, unfortunately, that's what's being done a lot these days. It's actually become really easy to publish that first draft. But let me show you my process. And this process is actually one that's recommended by many professional authors. And it's also one that produces a much higher quality or a standard of result. So visual aids. So let's start off with just being an author. Okay, so you write your first draft. Now the first draft, oddly enough, if we're talking about I'll get to numbers in just a second. So let's just go through the flow path. So author writes the first draft. That's just elbow grease. That's time writing the books and stuff like this. After that, you get a content editor or a writing coach who reads the book, looks at things over, and tries to help you find better plot, correct character arcs. If you have 2 or 3 characters that all sound exactly the same, they'll point that out. They'll also point out that this isn't very interesting, or maybe you should have this item up front, or this is totally useless. Let's just get rid of this out of the book. So after the content editor has been through your book, generally you have to rewrite the book pretty much from scratch. That means that you're not reusing any large sections of the book. You are actually sitting down and writing the entire book again. So that then produces your second draft. Now, after your second draft is done, then you send that off to what's known as a line editor or a copy editor. This is someone who truly loves the English language or whatever language you're writing in. And what they do is they look for word usage patterns, overused words, colloquialisms, too many adjectives, too many sentences beginning in words that end in ing. Yeah, I do that a lot. And they make a lot of suggestions on just style. So corrections, word corrections, sentence corrections, structure corrections, just for the language purposes. Going through their edits is painful, time consuming, because you have to sit and you have to consider most of the items that are being done. And in some cases, what you want to do is you want to learn what it is that you did wrong, so the next time you do just a little bit better. All right, so that produces that one. Now after that, the book is pretty much in the state it's going to be in. I mean, the only thing left is the proofreader. So the book goes to a proofreader. and the proofreaders find typos, commas. It's really funny, because depending on when you went to school, the rules for comma usages change back and forth. Depending on whether you're a Hemingway a fan or not, you may think that adjectives or adverbs are the evilness of the world and must be eliminated. So feedback from proofreaders is generally kind of all over the board. It's not very, it's very specific, but you have to consider, it's like, do I want to keep this? Is this because I'm doing this because this is a style thing for this series, or am I doing this or is this just a mistake? They also find, of course, misspellings, and hopefully it's at all stages they're finding stuff like, excuse me, but you can't have that happen because this hasn't happened over here yet, and if that hasn't happened over here, then this character can't know that, right? So you're still looking. You occasionally still find some continuity errors, especially if you move stuff around in the line editing. Because if you move stuff around in the line editing stage, you can get some pretty big continuity errors. Yeah, I think that's happened to me once. After your proofreader, you have generally a final manuscript. That manuscript is then taken to a formatters, and the formatters produce different formats. Now it's a very specific layout. It's a completely different file. And once you've done this, it's very painful if you want to make a change, because you have to go and make the change in every file all the way along the line. So the formatters will lay out for ebooks, paper books, whatever size you want, different sizes. And then also you also have to get an artist to do the cover for you. Now, if you're looking at this, so there's $3 signs here for the content editor. They are actually very expensive, but worth it. There's $2 signs for the line editor. They are less expensive than a content editor, but more expensive than a proofreader. Proofreaders do charge, so they're going to think. The artists you're generally going to pay about the same for your artwork that you paid for your line editing. Again, very worth it. And then, of course, you have actors that you have to find to read for if you're going to produce an audiobook. And they're either very expensive for the really good ones, or you can do a split deal with them to try and do that, which is even more expensive. It's less expensive up front, but more expensive overall. So that's the general flow of what it takes to actually make a book. So I built up a cute little list here to just go through the items. So for a 80,000 word novel, you're looking at writing it, which is going to be 170 hours plus or minus 50%. But really, that's what it comes down to. Quite frankly, it's about 170 hours to produce 80,000 words. After that, you have your content editing. Now, your content editing is going to be between $1,500 and $3,000 for that first editor pass. Depends on the quality of the editor and how well you know them, and whether or not you buy them a tasty beverage on Sunday, and do you walk their dog occasionally? Anyways, after they're done, you have about another 100 hours worth of work. It's not quite a complete rewrite. It's almost there, and there's a lot of thought process involved in it, but still, it's almost the same as writing the book again. Your line editor is going to run between $800 to $1,600. And after they get finished with doing their work, by the way, it's about a week or 2 weeks, the manuscript's off to them, then it's 60 hours of your time to go through and make the corrections to the manuscript. Proofreading can cost as little as $50 and as much as $800. It depends on the proofreader, how many mistakes you have in there, how good or how bad your writing is, that kind of stuff. And again, getting the stuff back on the proofreader, it's still about 15 hours worth of work on the manuscript, because you're basically just going through yes, no, yes, no, yes, 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 no, yes, no, yes, no, accepting or rejecting the suggestions for the changes. And then, of course, after that, you have ISBN, cover costs, and the final book release. So actually producing a final book is going to be 400 hours of labor, roughly, and about $3,500 if you actually got all of this. Many authors substitute you can substitute elbow work for dollars in some of these items. If you are very good at English or something like this, you can read your book backwards. You can do there's a whole bunch of tricks to reduce the editing costs. In fact, many editors just skip 1 or 2 editors, which I don't approve of. And that's it. So that should give you some idea of what it takes to actually produce a full-scale novel. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments if if you did or you didn't, and also if you have any questions or you want me to talk about something specific, definitely drop me a line. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.